But that was an Iranian choice. We didn't make that choice. They did. By playing games with Donald Trump, they made a huge mistake. By playing games with Donald Trump, they made a huge mistake. By playing games with Donald Trump, they made a huge mistake.
And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives. So this is not going to be some long, drawn-out thing. We've got in, we've done the job of setting their nuclear program back. We're going to now work to permanently dismantle that nuclear program over the coming years, and that is what the president has set out to do.
Breaking news, sweetheart. When Iran is out here cooking up uranium like it's a meth lab in Breaking Bad, you don't wait for a group project to come together. You press the big red button and you hit send. The War Powers Act says he can act in a national emergency. You know what's an emergency? A country screaming death to America, while in the same damn time spinning uranium like it's a fucking fidget toy. Trump didn't risk starting a war. He shut one down before it even started after giving their ass time and opportunity to give up their shit, and they failed to do so, and met with stonewalling.
President Trump blew up Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities over the weekend, and guess what? We're all still here, alive and well, and World War III has not started yet, so far. It's looking like Trump made the right call. Are you ready for higher gas prices? Well, after President Trump blew up Iran's nuclear facilities and Israel went and took down their Revolutionary Guards, guess what? The Iranian parliament just ordered that the Strait of Hormuz be closed. Now, if you don't know, about 20% of the world's oil apparently goes through that strait. So we'll see if gas prices skyrocket from here. This is exactly why we have to drill, baby, drill. I know Trump was talking about we have to drill. Well, we need to get to it. We need to speed that process up so we can avoid anyone ever affecting our oil and gas prices again, because we have such a huge reserve and we use our own products here. That would really make things America first, right? We may for sure feel a little bit of pain in our pockets. Surely not as much pain as the thousands of people that had their pages blown up by Israel that were in Lebanon. But nonetheless, we might feel a little bump in the road when it comes to these gas prices. Even though Trump's Operation Midnight Hammer was a success, I just can't help but to feel an impending feeling of doom. I want you to check out this clip from Patrick Bet-David because I saw this live when Trump was addressing the nation, and I wondered if anybody else caught it. He seemed like his voice was crackling. He seemed a little bit nervous. He almost seemed like he wanted to break out in prayer. He was, asking God for help. Something I've never seen before. You just have to imagine all the weight that's on his shoulders right now. So there could have been a lot of nerves flowing through him, or he could have been like, hey, this coin toss is going to go one of two ways, and there could be serious repercussions. So we don't know. And if a guy really cares about his country, that might affect him a little bit. Everybody's human, right? Supposedly. But he did seem a little bit uneasy, and Patrick Bet-David and the crew were talking about it. Let's roll the clip.
If you notice what Trump said in his speech, something you don't hear often for him to say, you could tell as a leader, you know what I felt? You could tell he's grappling with this decision. You could tell, because if you go watch the 2-minute speech he just gave that we reacted to, watch the last 30 seconds. Rob, if you can go back, I don't know if that's out there for us to just watch the last 30 seconds. Look how he finishes the last 30 seconds and what he says. It's not the typical way Trump finishes talks. Look who he thanked. Why did he say that? Go to the last 30 seconds. Go back a little bit more. Go back. Okay, play from right there if you could. Watch this.
Out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight.
Watch his body language.
Even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
Look what he
Tomorrow,
says.
General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete
At 8 a.m.
Hegseth, will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God.
Listen to his voice.
I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our
Go
great
back 5
military.
seconds, Rob.
Them.
I've never heard his voice crack like that. Listen, everybody listen.
We'll have a
Don't
press
move and just listen. Go ahead, Rob.
We'll have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
That's exactly how a leader needs to react when you make a decision like this. You know why? Let me tell you why. When you make a decision like that, you're grappling with it. You know you don't have 100% support. You know this could potentially break the party that you want. You know this is going to be complicated. You don't know for a fact if this is going to work out or not. Nobody does. This could be a big risk. Vinny, I'm going to come to you in a second. This could be a big risk. However, his voice is cracking. How often does the president ask for God's help at the end? Not often. Why? Because the moment you go to God is because the only thing you have left is what? Faith at this point. You're sitting there saying, I think we make the right decision, God. I think we did the right thing. We need you from here on. We've never heard the president talk like this. And that's exactly, whether you're happy with him or not, whether you're part of the camp that wants him to be impeached and on X and all this stuff, whether you're part of the camp that's like, I'm never Trumper because I didn't vote for war. Whoever you are, I don't care whether you can't stand this guy. Your name is Keith Olbermann. I don't care who you are. That's exactly how a president needs to react when they're going through a decision like this. And you know he's having the talks. He knows the criticism is coming. There's a reason why he only won 2 or 3 minutes. He doesn't want to take any questions. Can you imagine how much sleep they've been getting? I'm willing to bet the last 4 nights. These guys haven't slept. None of those guys have slept the last 4 nights. The gamble why President Trump's voice cracked for half a second. His voice never cracks. The only time I've ever seen President Trump be nervous is the first time he had the debate with Hillary Clinton. For the first 10 minutes, he was breathing hard. Just go watch that debate. First one. After that, he's been locked in. And the second term that he's been in, I've never seen him be this resolved about the decisions he's making. The way he's handling the media is the best, maybe the best we've ever seen in the history of presidents handling it. Matter of fact, I would say it's probably the best. You would put Reagan up there because Reagan kind of used humor in a way to kind of bring them down. But as active as Trump is, so what makes me kind of process this one here is the fact that as we're going through this next phase, the gamble is Iran now going to retaliate? Will they? What happens if they do? Do you think this is President Trump's way of saying, if you retaliate, you don't want to know what we do to you? I'm willing to bet that message has been sent.
We've seen time after time how much these other countries hate us. Retaliation from Iran is inevitable, but I'm truly hoping that what President Trump did by taking out their nuclear enrichment facilities potentially put them back by at least 20 to 25 years, if not decades. Now, of course, every country has the right to defend itself. That's why we have militaries. But trying to build a nuclear weapon with 60% enriched uranium is absolutely not acceptable in 2025. We saw that happen when the United States and Russia went crazy in the Cold War and started building these things out of control. That's why we are in the state now to where if even one goes off, it will probably start a chain cycle, which will destroy the entire world. That's why we don't need anybody else with a nuke, because United States and Russia alone could destroy the world 10 times over. How many more people do we need with nukes? Now, America's favorite journalist, Margaret Brennan, had an interview with Marco Rubio over the weekend, and he perfectly explains why they had to do what they had to do by taking out these enrichment facilities. It's not a game. They had to do it. Check it out.
Up on a phrase you just word, weaponization ambitions. Are you saying there that the United States did not see intelligence that the Supreme Leader had ordered weaponization?
That's irrelevant. I see that question being asked on the media. That's an irrelevant question.
No,
They have
but that is
everything
the
they need
key
to build a
point in
weapon.
U.S. intelligence assessments. You know that.
No, it's not.
Yes, it was.
No, it's
that
not.
The political decision had
well,
not
I know
been
that better
made.
than you know that, and I know that that's not the case.
But
You don't
I'm
know-
asking
you
you
don't
whether
know
the
what you're
order
talking
was
about.
given.
And the people who say that, it doesn't matter if the order was given. They have everything they need to build nuclear weapons. Why would you bury things in a mountain 300 feet under the ground?
Right.
Why would you bury why do they have 60% enriched uranium? You don't need 60% enriched uranium. The only countries in the world that have uranium at 60% are countries that have nuclear weapons. Because
Right.
they can quickly make it 90. They have all the elements. They have. Why do they have a space program? Is Iran going to go to the moon? No, they're trying to build an ICBM.
No,
so
but
they
that's a
can one day
question.
put a
That's a
warhead on
question.
it.
That's a question of intent, and you know, in the intelligence assessment, that it was that Iran wanted to be a threshold
How do
state
you know what
and
the
use this
intelligence assessment
leverage.
says?
I'm
How do
talking
you
about
know what the
the public
intelligence assessment
March
says?
assessment, and that's why I was asking you if you know something more from
but
March.
that's also
if
an
an order
inaccurate
was given.
representation of it. That's an accurate representation of it. That's not how intelligence is read. That's not how intelligence is used. Here's what the whole world knows. Now, forget about intelligence. What the IAEA knows. They are enriching uranium well beyond anything you need for a civil nuclear program. So why would you enrich uranium at 60%?
Right.
If you don't intend to one day use it to take it to 90 and build a weapon?
Right.
Why are you developing ICBMs? Why do you have 8,000 short-range missiles and 2,000 to 3,000 long mid-range missiles that you continue to develop? Why do you do all these things? They
Understood.
have everything they need for a nuclear weapon. They have the delivery mechanisms, they have the enrichment capability, they have the highly enriched uranium that is stored.
Yes.
That's all we need to see.
Right. Well, and
especially in the hands of a regime that's already...
Are we now at war with Iran?
No, we're not. This is not a war against Iran. This is very simple. 67 days ago, the President of the United States sent the Iranians a letter, and it said, you're not going to have nuclear weapons. You're not going to have a militarized nuclear program. Let's negotiate. I want to do this diplomatically. I want to do this peacefully. They tried to play him along the way they've played every American president for the last 35 years. And, the president told them, if we don't get a deal, which is what he wanted, then I'll have to handle it differently. And that's what he did last night. He handled it differently. But that was an Iranian choice. We didn't make that choice. They did. By playing games with Donald Trump, they made a huge mistake. And President Trump acted last night. And I think the world today is safer and more stable than it was 24 hours ago. And a bunch of these countries putting out statements condemning us, privately, they all agree with us that this needed to be done. They got to do what they got to do for, their own public relations purposes. But the only people in the world that are unhappy about what happened in Iran last night is the regime.
Now, my man Scott Jennings over at CNN had to lay the smackdown again on one of the other reporters over there at CNN that forgot her ID-10T card at home. This lady had the nerve to say that Iran is not a threat to America. Now, to keep it real, I am as anti-war as it gets. I don't want to see any Americans dying. I don't want people to go out there fighting senseless wars for old rich people. Like, let's be real about it, okay? But even if we stayed out of every single event, we didn't get caught up in any turmoil with anyone, by any circumstances possible, we stayed out of everything, Iran would still be a threat to the United States. Simply because you see thousands and thousands of people cheering death to America and saying all of these crazy things with hatred in their heart for this country. A lot of them have never even been here. The majority of them haven't. They don't really know us, but they truly, truly hate us. You have children screaming death to America. And obviously technology advances. This is a big problem. Not a very hard concept to grasp when you see children saying death to America. And as technology advances, obviously those children are going to grow up. Their technology will get better. And then they will be doing the same thing as what's happening right now, trying to take down America. It's not a good look. It is a big problem. Even if we did our best to stay out of every conflict possible, we would still have to look around the corner. We'd still have to make sure that we have our own backs, because at the end of the day, when someone hates you, they're going to be plotting against you. And if you're just obliviously going through life like that's not going to happen, something bad will end up happening. Now check out my man, Scott Jennings.
I think that there are a lot of questions that are being raised by Congress right now. And the reason that they're being raised is because normally you would need congressional approval for something like this. And I know that my friend here is laughing a little bit, but I will say,
I've covered Congress for a long time, but they gave a lot of that away.
But I will say, in order for the president to take action without congressional approval, he needed to show that there was a real true threat to the United States and that the strike would not cause escalation. The problem with this is that normally you would have a group of lawyers from all across the agencies that actually would make these determinations. Trump did away with that at the beginning of this administration. So it's unclear what type of legal advice Trump was getting. The Department of Defense usually puts out a statement and says what the legality is of any strike that the president is taking without congressional action. Here, we have not heard from DOD what is happening there. So what will be critical in the weeks to come is Congress must see the underlying intelligence about how they were in direct threat and how the U.S. needed to respond without congressional approval. But as of right now, I have not seen that.
You're arguing that after 46 years of the Iranian regime killing Americans, threatening Americans, saying over and over and over again, death to America, that maybe they were just didn't mean it, that they're fiery but mostly peaceful Iranian butchers? I don't understand. This is a righteous struggle.
But what you had the last
not exactly the
well,
Now, there is a lot of confusion going on in America right now. Some people just don't know what's happening, and maybe they don't understand anything at all. That's literally why you see people protesting that they stand with Iran. Americans protesting that they stand with Iran. It is absurd. You also have people that are going to see Bernie Sanders speak, and he mentions what Trump did by setting Iran back by 20 years with their nuclear capabilities, and they're all saying, boo. What? You're upset that we set Iran back by decades with their nuclear capabilities, which could potentially take out a city as large as New York? Where is the common sense? Obviously, no one wants a war, but if we can prevent ourselves from being nuked, obviously that's a good thing, no matter how you look at it.
We just bombed Iran. Oh, that just gave me the chills. I'm scared.
All right, let me conclude.
Oh dear God. Oh dear God. Oh dear God. Oh dear God.
This is a statement from Donald Trump, quote,
Oh dear God.
"We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran," etc.
And a lot of these people aren't even anti-war people. They could be for war. They might not even really care. They're just anti-Trump, and they want to go against everything that he does. So even over time, if Operation Midnight Hammer was a full success and we don't get any retaliation strikes on American soil and Iran is set back 20 years, if not more, with their nuclear capabilities, people will still be pissed just because Trump did it. Like I said before, I am as anti-war as it gets, but if this move really prevented Iran from creating an ICBM or any other sort of nuclear weapon, then I'm all for it. Let's just hope it works. Let's hope that they don't retaliate immediately and that we can build up enough intelligence and have our Iron Dome set up before anything can happen to us. I do fear that there could be the possibility of a dirty bomb, that somehow they could sneak some uranium into the United States and do something crazy like the movies, right? But what would life be living in fear? I'll leave that up to the guys in the United States military and the government to hopefully prevent that from happening. In the end, the best thing that you can do is always stay prepped with food, water, supplies, everything you need. Always try to accomplish as much as possible every single day, be the best that you can be. And then at the end of the day, it's a win-win because you're like, I accomplished everything that I could. I was always the best that I could be every day. Live my life to the fullest. So if something crazy happens, at least you can go out knowing that you did your best, right? But hopefully we don't get nuked by anybody. Hopefully the move that Trump made in his chess match was a checkmate and we can stop worrying about Iran for a little bit. Trump hasn't even been in the office for 6 months. I mean, it is crazy how much he's doing and he's trying to get stuff done fast. So hopefully, he's getting all the heavy hitters out of the way first. And we'll see what the next 3 years will be like. But just remember, we're still in year 1 and think about all of the crazy things that have been happening since Trump has been in office. But hey, he's making moves, he's making plays, he's checkmating countries, he's taking on everybody. So, it's making America look strong. I just hope that these are all the right moves. I guess you can't tread on thin ice when you're the president. What do you guys think? Drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. You're watching the Unexplained Outlook. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out. Thanks for having some fun over here at the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.